You're reading a job ad. It ends with this: "We strive to have an organization where every team member brings a unique perspective and every team member has an opportunity to succeed. That's why we've set a goal of hiring at least one woman or racial minority for every white man we hire." Would you apply? A new study suggests that if you're a woman or part of a racial minority group, you're more likely to apply to a job ad with concrete, measurable diversity goals like that one, compared to no statement at all, or vague statements like, "We're committed to diversity and inclusion. We believe this improves our work and workplace." The researchers ran a field experiment. They posted a research assistant job. Over 5,500 people expressed interest by filling out a short demographics survey. The ad did not include any diversity statement at first. But when participants got to the survey, they were shown the job ad again, this time with a diversity statement added. Some saw an abstract statement. Others saw a statement with measurable goal, like the one I read at the beginning. Applicants could then choose to continue by submitting a CV and cover letter, or drop out. The researchers tracked who followed through, broken down by whether they were white men, white women, racial minority men, or racial minority women. Here's what they found. White women were more likely to apply when the statement included a measurable diversity goal. For white men, racial minority men, and racial minority women, there was no difference in the application rate based on the type of diversity statement. Measurable goals didn't lower the quality of the applicant. The study used education level as a proxy for applicant quality. Among people with at least a bachelor's degree, white women were 18.4% more likely to apply when the statement included measurable diversity goal. No such increase was found for men or racial minorities. In other words, it was qualified white women who were responding most positively to concrete goals. But how do women and racial minorities perceive measurable diversity goals? To answer this, the researchers conducted lab studies. In one, women were asked to imagine applying for a job at two nearly identical companies. The only difference? One used an abstract diversity statement, the other used measurable goals. Women reported being more likely to apply to the company with measurable goals. This was true even when they had to choose between applying to a company with measurable goals compared to companies with no diversity statement at all. So what about racial minorities? A lab study found that overall, racial minorities weren't more willing to apply to companies with measurable goals versus abstract ones. But framing mattered. When measurable goals were presented as ratios, like one racial minority for every white person, the willingness to apply to the company with measurable goals dropped. But when framing as percentages or increases in representation, willingness to apply went up. Another study showed that racial minorities were more likely to apply to companies with measurable diversity goals versus no statement at all. So why didn't the field study find stronger effect for racial minorities? One possible explanation is that the job advertisement grouped together white women with racial minorities. Some applicants may have assumed that white women in particular may benefit more from the policy. One final point, this research happened before the current backlash against DEI. So what would happen today? Would you apply for a job with measurable diversity goal? And what demographic group do you belong to? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.